Thank you, everybody. Happy Thursday afternoon. Thank you for joining us. We're very excited to have you guys here today and joining us at this Vitae Tax webinar. We have a lot of stuff to talk about, and there's a lot of confusion out there about many things involving the EIDL and the PPP. And today we're going to try to demystify it. Let's get to the point. Let's talk about what we're seeing on our end, and first and foremost, we want to make sure everybody's healthy, everybody's good, and taking care of yourselves and your families, and the businesses. Well, that's a whole different ball game, right? With the businesses, there's a lot of uncertainty, and so we're here to talk about what to do now that you receive these monies, or if you haven't applied, it's not too late to apply. For example, for the PPP. So very grateful for you guys being here tonight. So let me get started off by introducing myself. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Carlos Salazar. I am a CPA. I've been doing this for 27 years. I worked 13 years with the State of California Franchise Tax Board doing federal and state audits, corporate audits, business types of audits. And over that period of time, of course, I learned about how the government approaches these types of situations, how they look at the books and records, what their objectives are. And so after 13 years of doing that, I decided to leave that post and start Vitae Tax. Started knocking on people's doors, just like many of you out there who started your business from scratch. And today, we have many offices, we have employees, we have many clients, and I'm very excited to be here with you guys and share information. I thought this was a lot easier. I see we have 40 participants. Awesome. It's great. It makes it a lot easier for us to say it once to 40 people as opposed to repeating it 40 times. And then plus it gives everybody an opportunity to ask questions, which is another wonderful thing. As far as Vitae Tax, what we do here is we're small business tax advisors. Okay, what we do here is focus on incorporating business owners, basically dealing with the architecture, the design of how to better structure your business to be able to prepare you for some tax savings. We do the tax accounting, we process payroll, we incorporate people, we do the audit presentations, and we, of course, prepare tax returns, corporate businesses, S corporations are our specialty, LLCs, C corporations. So we're all over the place when it comes to small business owners. We are a one-stop shop, and we want to make sure that everybody here knows that. For those of you that have been working with us, you know that already. For those that have never worked with us, we welcome you to come join us for a free consultation, and we'll sit down and go over, some of the work and that needs to be done. We're always very good at identifying mistakes from other preparers. We have our way of doing things, and we do it with, with more than anything, an approach of care, caution, and we're very much growth-minded, to you guys. So very glad you guys are here. So that was a little introduction of who I am and Vitae Tax, who we are. And so today we're basically here to talk about these famous SBA loans that many of you may have applied for, or that perhaps you're thinking of applying for. And so there's two types of loans that you can apply for. One is the PPP, the famous Payroll Protection Program loan that has been offered through your banks. And the other happens to be the EIDL loan, which is the Small Business Administration loan. And for that one, you would have had to apply through the SBA website. And so each one has its features, each one has its pros and its cons. And right now, we're in a situation where everybody's starting to run into some issues. And I see my screen is running rampant right now, so bear with us. And so we already discussed what we do. So we're, help me move it along to the next screen, please. Thank you. As an overview, let's talk about, how these loans work and what are some things that we should be looking out for? I want to remind everybody, really, the most important part of this, as far as I'm concerned, especially coming from the compliance background, is we want to make sure that first and foremost, we take a poll, okay? And the poll that we're going to take is, how many of you have actually applied for the EIDL or the PPP loan? So you should have, a little screen come up, and you could go ahead and click right there. So we've got an idea of how many of you guys have applied for this. This is the neat feature. And if you, please participate in it. Just let us know if you've received funds from the PPP or the EIDL. And we're also interested in taking a poll to see, as a result of the COVID-19, is your business doing worse? Is it doing the same, or is it doing better? Just a very, very honest poll that we're looking at. And if you did receive the funds, are you maintaining the proper record keeping? On the usage of the funds from the EIDL or the PPP. So we see those numbers going up, and everybody's being very honest, and that's very, very cool. And we're going to see who the optimistic people here are, and the people who are looking at the cup half full versus the people who are looking at it half empty. So I know we got 38 individuals here, and the tally is going up. So we're all watching this right now. So we're all viewing these questions. So come on, participate. Let's get those answers in. And my goodness, we're only seeing 5%, one person say that they're actually doing better. Everybody is so far saying the race is on, definitely worse. Things have stayed the same. Interesting. So let's see here. We're up to 23 people out of 39. And so bear with me, because we're kind of new at this as well. But this is really, really informative for not only for our company, but for you guys. Right? Because there's a lot of rumors out there, people, crying, complaining about that their business isn't doing, good. Other people are afraid to brag that their business is doing better. But at this stage, I'm starting to see that we got to do a countdown, right? So let's do 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, awesome. So now let's look at this here. The final poll. So 39%, let's go back. Okay, 39% of you said that you received the funds, the PPP funds. Only 7% said EIDL. 42% they received both, and 11% said, you know what, it's nothing. My goodness, I can't believe it. 11% said they haven't received anything. So we got to talk about that, okay? As a result of COVID, is your business doing better or worse? Definitely worse, 46%. 43% said that things have stayed the same, and 11% have said things are doing better. That's pretty cool. That's telling us that about, by and large, we're hanging in there. Do you know how to use the funds for these loans? You have an idea of 68%, 11% said not at all, and 21% said absolutely. If you receive the funds, do you have proper record keeping? We have a confident group right here. 61% said that they have a positive, the proper record keeping. Wow, you guys must be our clients right there. That's really cool. So this was a very informative poll, and it gives everybody an idea of where we stand, at least for those participants. 28 individuals voted. We got 44 participants, so this is very helpful to us. So let's jump back in the game, and let's talk about what I was going to get into, that bolded part right there that says a reminder. These loans are intended for small businesses suffering economic hardships related to COVID-19. Okay, many of you have maybe exposed yourself out there, but don't worry, we're not sharing names. But for the most part, let's kind of take a step back and remember that the purpose of these two loans was to help people that were having or suffering economic hardships. Okay, so that's very subjective, because unfortunately we never really got a clear definition of what that meant. What does a hardship mean? Well, some people define it as you receiving less income, and people feel very insecure and they're very uncomfortable with that, and they would say, I think that's a hardship for me. Other people would say, well, no, a hardship means I'm upside down. I'm actually spending more money than I'm generating an income. So it's very subjective. We haven't really seen a definitive definition of what a hardship is. But then again, we're leaving it to you guys, the clients, to make that call. We certainly can't make that call because we are not working inside your business. We're not involved in the day-to-day operations of your business. We're typically dealing with everything after the fact, right? Once we're organizing all your tax accounting, we're dealing with it for tax reporting purposes. But right now, only you know if you're suffering a hardship. And clearly, based on the statistics, you guys went ahead and applied for these 2 loans. The majority of the people did, at least. So I want to remind everybody and set that disclaimer out there that these monies are meant for people with hardships. If you believe you have a hardship, then you have a hardship. And we want to make sure that, more importantly, that we were able to justify that hardship in the event that the government comes in asking for it. So record keeping is the key. Okay, so the SBA may ask for records at any time for at least 6 years versus the SBA. So what we're saying there is that, you know, the words go to the wind. For those of you that are clients, you know how we feel about this, and we want to make sure that we document everything the proper way so we support what we're saying. If we're saying we're suffering an economic hardship, then we better make sure that we support it through record keeping. If the SBA, the Small Business Administration, ever wants to come in and question our books and records, no problem. We'll go ahead and open up our books and we'll let them know, look, this was my income before, these were my expenses after, and this is where I'm at now. Yes, I was suffering an economic hardship, and it's you know, the proof is in the pudding, as they say. So we want to make sure that we maintain invoices and receipts of what the money was used for. Of course, you can't go out there and buy a Benz, invest the money in a duplex, or just take a trip to Europe. You just can't do that. You need to ensure that these monies are being used for its intended purpose, and that is for your business, for business operational purposes. So what we're recommending our clients to do is that as you're receiving these monies, that you open up a separate bank account within the same business. Call your bank and let them know, look, I need a separate bank account. My company XYZ Enterprises, you know, needs another bank account, and I want to add the hyphenated EIDL/PPP. This way, we're showing the government, from a record-keeping standpoint, that we're respecting the usage of these funds. So you're able to deposit these monies into these new accounts, or transfer the money from your old account into this new account. So we've earmarked the funds specifically for this purpose. So what we're encouraging all of our clients to do is to open up a separate bank account that's titled the EIDL/PPP account, so that we're able to earmark these funds from that specific account. Okay, that's highly recommended. So if you haven't done so, absolutely make a call tomorrow to your banker and let them know that you want to open up a new account and you want to transfer the funds that you received, both from the PPP and for the EIDL, dollar for dollar into that account. You want to ensure that you communicate with your accountant to keep track of monies to and from the account. Yes, remember, the purpose of these monies are for your business, for your basic operating expenses. So you want to make sure that you use this new checking account, not savings, checking account, so that you're able to cover these basic operating expenses, right? Rent, utilities, labor, that's what it's all about. It's all about covering operating expenses. And yes, payroll to you. You qualify as a basic operating expense. So we want to make sure that you're very careful and selective about how you're using the funds from that account. It is critical to be compliant in record keeping in order to avoid possible fines or penalties. Man, I'm telling you, as we know, and I hate to, rain on your parade, but the Easter Bunny doesn't exist. Santa Claus doesn't exist, and there's no such thing as free money. We all know that. Okay, for a minute there, I think, when I'm talking to the clients, everybody has this euphoria thinking that, oh my God, finally, I'm getting free money. No. We should know better. We're all adults here. We're all over 18 years of age. We're all business people, and it has to come at a price, right? As a starting point, these are loans. There's no free money. You need to repay these loans, and you need to repay them timely. So, yes, I see that we have Q&As, and we'll get into those questions after we go through this section, okay? because I have momentum and I want to make sure that I get everything through. So we want to make sure that we're very careful with how we use the money. And so now that I receive the monies, we know that they're not meant to cover lost sales. I can't go to the SBA and say, look, I got 100 grand from the EIDL, and basically I was entitled to it because my business revenue dropped. So my profits are no longer 150 grand a year. Now they're only 75 grand a year. So I'm suffering a hardship. I can no longer afford to get Starbucks every day. That's not the purpose of these loans. So you want to make sure that you understand the loans are not meant to cover lost sales. There's no such thing as a free lunch. And you also want to make sure that, you know, because we're going to lead right into the PPP, that we use those monies for its intended purpose. So let's talk about the PPP, okay? So the PPP, the goal is to restore payroll to pre-February 15, 2020 status. So, you know, for those of you that are out there, you know, with the money and you're trying to get those employees back, I've had a lot of conversations with clients who say, Carlos, they don't want to come back. They're getting $3,500 a month, $4,000 a month from the EDD. They're now wanting to come back. And I need these employees. If I don't have the employees come back, what am I going to do? Well, you better make sure that you document all of your communication with these employees. Okay? Email, text, certified mail. These are the ideal methods of communication with these employees so that you're better able to document the fact that they're not wanting to come back. Because, believe it or not, you are able to get forgiveness from the PPP, even if the employee, even if you don't have people on payroll, as long as you're able to document that you attempted to bring them back and they're not coming back. So these rules are getting kind of complicated. Okay, so why don't we go ahead and move on to the next slide. And as we go to the next slide here, so let's talk about the Payroll Protection Plan Flexibility Act, the PPPFA. So now it was bad enough. I hear people use 4 or 5 Ps. We got 3 Ps, and now we have the F and the A, the Flexibility Act. What does that mean? Well, now we have, in the old days, it was a 75%, 25% split, right? Where you were supposed to utilize 75% of the PPP monies towards payroll and the other 25% towards mortgage, rents, and utilities. That's changed. The Senate and the House passed a bill, which is a PPPFA, which now allows us to go 60-40. Okay, so at a minimum, we could go 60-40, 60% to payroll, 40% for mortgage, rent, and utilities. So unfortunately, they never expanded the usage of the other for other types of expenses. We were crossing our fingers and hoping that they would expand the usage to include other types of expenses, but no, for PPP purposes, they kept the same expenses as being qualified, limited to mortgages, rents, and utilities. The only thing they changed was the allocation. Okay, so that's one change as a result of this PPPFA loan. The second one is that they extended the forgiveness period from 8 weeks to 24 weeks, or the end of the year, whichever is sooner to spend the money on. So basically what happened is we have a lot of clients that are restaurants and they tell me, look, I have the funds, but they're not allowing me to open the doors. So what do I do? And I have 8 weeks and I got 2 weeks left and I can't spend the money. What do I do? Well, fortunately, you know, the government heard us, and so they went ahead and extended it out to 24 weeks. So technically we have until the end of the year to be able to get everybody on payroll. That's definitely giving everybody enough time to get your businesses organized. So of course, we want to make sure that you talk to your bank to confirm and extend this period, because the banks are the ones controlling the forgiveness of these loans. We're not controlling it. You guys aren't controlling it. The SBA is not controlling it. The banks are controlling those applications, and those applications are being revised as we speak. So we expect a new application to come out very, very soon. The last application we saw was a 12-page application, including instructions, of course. It's not a walk in the park, okay? So you guys are gonna need our help in preparing these applications, because we wanna make sure that you get the most forgiveness possible for those of you that are seeking forgiveness. The deadline to restore employees to pre-February 15, 2020 status of June 1st, 2020 has been revised to 12/31/2020. So that means that now you have up until the end of the year to get those employees back. Before they were giving us a time crunch of June 1st, apparently that wasn't enough time. So that's great news for all of us business owners. We have more time to get those employees to come back. And additional exceptions are, if I'm not able to hire an employee or a qualified replacement by the end of the year, am I going to qualify for the exception? Absolutely, which is exactly why we want to make sure that you document the responses from the employees. Okay, that's very, very important. So now, if you're not able to continue business at a pre-February 15, 2020 level, then you may still qualify for the forgiveness. So we don't know the exact details how this is going to take place, but what the law does tell us is that if your business is not doing as well as it was before February 15th, even though we haven't hired enough employees, we still qualify for an exception. How much? We don't know. Okay, so we're all playing catch up here, but at least it seems now, based on the new law, that we have a lot more flexibility. That's a very, very good thing. And applications will be accepted through December 31st, 2020. As a matter of fact, as of yesterday, I heard that there was still $1 billion in the program. So for those of you listening to us tonight, and if you haven't applied and you're suffering economic hardship, by all means, communicate with your bank or communicate with us so we could guide you to a proper bank, for your PPP loan. Okay, so that's basically some of the most recent changes that we're seeing with respect to this PPP loan. Now, the other loan, which is it's a little more scary, a little more voodoo, is that economic injury disaster loan, the famous EIDL loan. Okay, so this one here, even just the title of it seems a little scary, right? It's basically telling you, you better have suffered an economic injury disaster to apply with us. Okay, and so the government went ahead and asked 3 very basic questions. What's your gross income? What's your cost of goods sold? And how many employees do you have? I just got a Chevy Bolt a couple of months ago on a $400 a month payment. The paperwork that they were asking for me to get this lease was like this. These were 3 questions. And now we're getting clients getting monies of $150,000, with 3 questions. And there was no questions about, requesting an explanation for the injury or anything else like that. But again, it's up to you as a business owner to determine if you're suffering an economic injury disaster, not us as your accountants, because we are not right there on a daily basis with you guys. But if you applied and you got the money, then let's kind of recap how you're supposed to use this money. Remember, after you've opened up a bank account, earmarked specifically for this loan, then you're going to use it to cover basic obligations, right? Such as debts, payroll, and other operating expenses that could have been met had the disaster not occurred. When we talk about debts, I had one client that went ahead and paid off his truck. $30,000. He got a $50,000 deposit and paid off the truck, $30,000. He said, well, that's a debt. No, you cannot use it to pay an entire principal amount. You're supposed to, it's okay for you to use it to cover your monthly payment on the truck, including interest, but you're not supposed to use this entire money to pay off or refinance any of these debts. That's a big, big no-no, which is, as we put in the PowerPoint here, not to be used for refinancing debts, tax penalties, or payments of other SBA loans, investing or expansion. So for those of you that have this romantic, thought of getting that money and finally being able to afford that fourplex, property investment, again, we don't want to deal with issues. We want to make sure that you guys that you're very careful of how you're spending this money. You have to deposit it into this new account that you're going to set up, and it's a checking account, and from there, you're going to be very careful to cover your operating expenses, okay, including payroll, rents, utilities, and so forth. By the way, you could also pay IRS taxes from that. So once again, you have to consult with us or your accountant. Hopefully it's us. We're the ones giving you this information. The accountant, nobody else is. So we understand what we're doing. We're experienced, and we have an amazing crew, and we're certainly going to be able to help you. Now, in this case, people are asking, do I have to repay that $10,000 loan that the advance they gave me? If you had employees in your business, you got $1,000 per employee, and those monies are considered a grant. You're now required to repay those monies back. That's the only part of this money that's forgiven. The economic disaster loan is not forgiven. So there's no forgiveness available. The interest rate is at 3.75 APR for a term of up to 30 years. Your payments are deferred for up to 1 year, so you're not making payments for an entire year. And what's really cool is that this loan isn't subject to any personal guarantees. So this loan is under your corporation's name. And yes, you could have applied for this loan using your LLC, or if you're a sole proprietorship, you could have applied as a sole prop as well. So the problem with this money here is that we're seeing a lot of clients ask me, well, I'm still generating income. Can I commingle my EIDL money and my PPP money with my regular income? And this is where I get really, really jittery. You know, my old audit cap comes on, and I tell everybody, look, it's very simple to commingle money, right? You have one bank account, you could get money from different sources, and it's all commingled, and you're making like this menudo, this soup, and it's all mixed in. You don't want to do that. You want to make sure that you separate out an account, that account is earmarked specifically for these operating expenses, so that if we ever do have an audit by the SBA, then we're able to be very transparent. We're able to show them how the funds were used. What about your regular account? You're depositing monies into a regular account. What do you do with those monies? Well, again, assuming that you applied for it because you were having a hardship, well, it's for you to manage your business and manage your account. Obviously, if you have questions, call us, right? But it's up to you to manage your own money. That's your money, your account. Hopefully you don't have a need for these loans, which, by the way, if you don't have a need for the loans, and like any other loan, repay it back. If you repay it back, there's no prepayment penalty. And yeah, I mean, that's something you could do, or keep it there, but be very careful of how you're earmarking the monies so we don't get accused of any commingling, okay? Because I suspect an auditor is going to want to come in and clearly try to find abuse with these monies. We're not going to give them the benefit of the doubt, right? Because everybody on this call, we got 49 participants who are listening, and they're understanding, you know, that we need to get our record keeping straight. So now we're going to go ahead, and we have the frequently asked questions. These are questions that we've encountered over the past, few weeks. A question being asked with frequency is, my employees went on unemployment and I've already received my PPP funds. What do I do now? Well, you need to call your employees back to work. You need to say, hey, I need you back over here. And so no Q&As right now? Really? Okay. To all panelists. Come on, guys. Let's bring them on. Before we go there, let's go ahead and talk about how do I handle a situation where I have this money, I want it forgiven, and I have work for the employees, and the employees don't want to come back. Am I going to wait for them until after July 31st? Because I believe that's the final date where they get their big payout from EDD, from the state of California unemployment. Well, those are decisions you have to make as an employer. You have to be very, very careful about how you handle these situations. Hopefully you have, if you laid them off, you're under no obligation to take the employees back, because you did lay them off. But if you are going to hire people back, then you better make sure you document everybody who is coming back. And obviously, if you're in business, you're trying to generate a profit. If they don't want to come back, then you go look for other employees. There's plenty of businesses out there who are in need of employees. Unemployment is very, very high, so you shouldn't have a problem hiring people. But again, you got to communicate with your employees and set the record straight and tell them, hey, it's not just about your unemployment, it's about our business and our clients. If you're not coming to work, then we're not able to serve our clients. We're not going to have any clients for you to come back to. So that's very, very important that you are communicating this to your employees. How do I apply for forgiveness? What do I need for loan forgiveness? Well, we're waiting for the new application, right, to come. And once we get that application, we'll go ahead and guide you of how to prepare that application. Again, I'm a CPA. Reina's here with us. She's a CPA as well. We sat down and we went over the application, the old application, and clearly it's not a walk in the park. Okay, I can see There's a lot of issues there and how you're going to compute the forgiveness. And so communicate with us, you know, and 1-888 Vitae for me. Raina's going to put up the information on this link right here, but communicate with us and we'll go ahead and guide you there. Am I still able to apply for this loan? No. Well, for the PPP, yes. Again, we have until the end of the year. If you haven't applied yet, you absolutely can't apply for that loan. Can't apply for the EIDL any longer unless you're in the agriculture business. So for those of you that are not in the agriculture business, if you go into the SBA.gov website and you apply for the EIDL loan, if the SBA gets a wind of the fact that you're not in the agriculture business, they will come back and audit you, and then they'll ask for their money back. So that's not a good thing, right? So that's as far as the okay, I kind of got a little ahead. What do I do if I no longer need a loan and I don't want the loan? Then you can always reject the loan. You can always repay it back again. There's no prepayment penalties for repaying the loan. Remember, the EIDL is not forgiven other than the advance you receive of $1,000 per employee. Will there be more documents needed for this loan? Well, no. I mean, at this stage, what you need to do is just simply have the proper record keeping in the event that you're ever questioned about this. I can't emphasize it enough. It's kind of scary, really, right? If you don't have accounting and you don't have your proper bookkeeping, I mean, and you have 100 grand in your bank, 150 grand from the government, they're printing money like there's no tomorrow. You rest assured they're going to come in and they're going to ask questions. There's a saying that we follow, right? You hope for the best and you prepare for the worst. That's really a philosophy we follow here with Vitae Tax. So it's not too late to apply for the PPP, but it is too late to apply for the EIDL loan unless you're in the agriculture business. Okay. So one of the things I want to talk about as well before we get into the Q&A, Raina, can you please jump back into the two arrows that we have? I want to make sure that I communicate this philosophy of who we are as a company. So what we've learned over the years is that there's two paths for business owners, right? What is the magnet for money? Money, right? So if we have money, then yes, the government may come in and want to audit us, right? That is a magnet because it does attract, you know, government has money, they want to come in and get their money. But what we've learned is that the arrow on the left is very important for success, right? So what we do is we recommend and suggest that you incorporate, that you report complete financial statements, that you pay taxes, obviously, minimized as allowable by law, because we don't want to do anything illegal. It's not worth it. We work too hard for our businesses. We're not going to take, you know, chances doing something that's going to get us in trouble. We want to make sure we increase the value of our business. We want to create goodwill, equity to get to retire early, perhaps, right? You know, if you report you're generating enough profits and you show you're organized, and more importantly, if you're able to prove that you're able to sustain your business during this difficult time, it's proving its value. That's a good thing. If you decide you're going to retire 5 years from now and the economy, of course, has picked up by then you're able to tell the buyer, look, my business sustained the worst time of the economy. You know, I could show you the books and records. We're still here. We're still swinging. Why? Because I was incorporated, because I had complete financial statements. I was paying my taxes, you know, so there's value in my business. I could sell it. We want to make sure we minimize government audit risks. We don't want to get audited. Even if I have all my records straight, I don't even want anybody asking questions. That's in and of itself is just a problem, right? We don't want to get audited. And finally, open doors to capital, bank loans, lines of credits for expansion or reinvestment. Yes, if you're showing that you're making money and that you're properly structured, then of course the banks are going to get excited and they're going to want to advance money to us. Now, for those of you that are listening to us who came to us from other preparers, most of you came with that other arrow. And we have a lot of testimonials. And by the way, Raina, we should have put a poll of how many of these people came to us. And hopefully they do a lot more thumbs up and thumbs down. But if you came as a sole proprietorship to us, then you were probably reporting an estimated profit and loss. You were probably paying very little or no taxes, so you were probably paying below expected by law. You probably had no value to your business because nobody wants to buy a business that's reporting very little profits. You probably increased your government audit risk. Perhaps you even came to us because you wanted us to represent you on a tax audit, because we represent clients as sole proprietorships all day, every day with the IRS. because they paid that extra 15.3% tax. I'm not going to get into that today because the purpose of this conversation was really to discuss these two loans. But this is just to begin the first of a series of webinars we're going to have. And then you're going to close doors to capital and bank loans. The banks don't like to lend money to people who report very little profit. So you're going to increase the probability of failure. That's why we put this arrow. It's kind of gray and it's kind of going down. Boo, right? No good. We want to make sure that we go with the colorful one that goes up. We got to make the U, right? If you're going down, come and make the U, come back up. This is what works. This is what increases the probability of success. The other arrow, it's just trouble. Okay, so anyways, now we could go ahead and jump back to the Q&As. Let's see here. Questions. Let me see here. So we got a chat. Okay, what if they pay off a company credit card? Any idea of the penalties or repercussions? Well, for those of you that are paying your credit cards on a monthly basis, if you could show that you have a historic trend of making these payments on a monthly basis, then I could see that the argument that these payments were basic operating expenses that you're paying at the end of the month. If you owed $20,000 on this credit card and you were only making $150 payments every month, and now you get this money and you're trying to go out and make a full payment on this, yes, you're going to face repercussions. It's no different than the guy that paid off his truck, right? If you're ever questioned. Nobody, you can't expect perfection, of course, but it's okay to show a mistake and where you're showing, yes, look, Mr. Auditor, I'm so sorry, but a week after I got that money, I did this. But if you look after that, I've been following all the rules. I've been doing everything by the book. I've been making my payroll taxes, paying everything from that account that I opened. So I could clearly show you that my intent is good. Then excellent. That's clearly what it's all about. Let's just go ahead. The auditors understand there's no perfection, but we certainly want to show them that we are people of integrity and we're taking the steps in the right direction. So that's a very, very good question there. So let's see here. What other questions do we have? I know we're dealing with a bunch of business owners, so you can't possibly be shy. I know you guys. And I find it hard to believe that I was able to answer all your questions before you even asked them. Are we pretty clear? Or is everybody saying, I'm just going to go ahead and call you guys. I don't want to ask these questions up front. Okay, we have a question.
Carlos, we have a really good one. It's what is the payroll period we use when we apply for the loan forgiveness? And does it begin from the day we receive the funds? And also, when is the loan forgiveness application due?
Okay, so you want to start monitoring the loan from the loan from the time you receive the loan, so that we're able to do through accounting measure the period. And now remember, we have 24 weeks to measure and determine which is going to be the period that we're going to use to request this forgiveness. So basically 24 weeks from the time you receive your money, but you need to have some type of accounting to be able to do that. And we have until December 31st, 2020 to submit the application to your bank. Okay, so we have plenty of time, but a lot of you haven't even filed your 2019 tax returns, and you're probably wondering, how am I going to get caught up with my 2020 if I haven't even done my 2019 tax returns? Well, you want to make sure that we get you caught up to date. So please communicate with your account manager at Vitae Tax, and let's get the ball rolling, because we don't want to wait till the end. We don't want to deal with the deadlines on September 15th and October 15th, and then with you guys coming in with these applications upset about us not being able to timely help you. So right now we're dealing with a lot of pressure from the clients already as it is. Let's get started with it. So let's see here. We have a question. I don't want to pay the loan back. I have my account for the PPP under a dedicated payroll account. It is not my main operating account. Do I have to show my main operating account? Well, you're going to have to show that if you already started making payments for payroll from your normal operating account, that's fine. But you also want to make sure that for the other 25%, or now 40%, for utilities and mortgage and utilities, mortgage leases and utilities, that you transfer the money into the new account to show a trend. Again, we don't expect everybody to, to be perfect from the beginning. What we're trying to present is some organization in the event of an audit, where we're able to show them, yes, I was a little disorganized up front. Fortunately, I was able to cover these intended expenses, but I shaped up and I moved these monies over here, so they're earmarked specifically from this account. So let's go ahead and let's sit down. Let's talk about your situation specifically and see how we can go ahead and guide you of how to separate these accounts. We're not big fans of commingling, because when you start commingling things, then it lends itself for trouble, okay? What if at the end of the year you make more money than the previous year? Well, then at that point, once again, you have to show a trend, right? If I'm preparing the accounting from January 1st until the end of the year, and I'm able to show that I was doing well, and then I took a hit, and I applied during this period of time, then clearly I could show that I was in trouble. But I'm able to show it through accounting, right? It took a dip, got a little choppy, and it's making its way back up. And I would say, thank you very much, government. Thank you for the EIDL. Thank you for the PPP. It's intended purpose work. You guys made me a lot more profitable. That's why I'm back to where I was before, or even more. I couldn't have done it without you guys. Thank you. But you understand, we're trying to build a picture here. Okay, it is a graph. You're doing good. You took a dive. You applied. You got the money. It's a little choppy, and then you got it back up. You see how that curve is going to help you explain to the auditor, I applied when I was in trouble, and thank goodness for you guys, I'm here. Okay, so hopefully that answers your question, but it all comes back to accounting, folks. That's what it all comes back down to. So I had to refund deposits for special events. I had scheduled. Can I use that for the loan forgiveness? No. If you refunded deposits for special events, if you did not report that as income to begin with, then there's no income and there's no expense. It's just money that came in and came out. If you reported some of that money as income last year in that advance as an account receivable, and now you're having to give correction. A deposit for future services is never income. No tax benefit, no write-off, no losses. Sorry, I'm thinking out loud. So let's see here. How are 1099 subcontractors treated? Are they considered the same as W-2 employees for purposes of EIDL? Yes, because you are covering basic operating expenses, right? Payment to an independent contractor is an operating expense. An employee, same. Utilities, insurances, payments to Vitae Tax, which, by the way, for those of you that owe us money, great time to pay up, right? You got some money in the bank. Let's go ahead and pay up. I know some of you are laughing out there, but hey, we're in business too, and we very much welcome you guys paying your account payables to us. We don't want to have that many receivables, although they're a little too high these days. But come on, guys, we got to get some payments through. So let's go. Okay, so now, is that it, Rena? We don't have any questions? Is everybody pretty clear on where we're at with this EIDL and the PPP? Okay. So for those of you that speak Spanish, I'm going to have the same webinar tomorrow in Spanish, and maybe you feel more comfortable asking the questions in Spanish, lo voy a hacer en español mañana. So let me see here. We have two participants that raised their hands. So Reina, let's see here. Okay, so we got a question coming. Okay, so yeah, we're waiting for the question. It must be a very long question. I'm getting scared. Okay, so in any case, haven't seen the question yet. So yeah, so that's pretty much where we're at right now, guys. Just organizing our business and organizing you guys, and making sure that we're proactive. Our take is that things are going to get a little choppy once unemployment ends for a lot of people as of July 31st, so we want to make sure that we get everybody, squared away. Let's see, have we already spent our money? Can we go ahead and complete the application? Yes, you can, but I would just wait, because remember, you're not required to make payments on this application on the PPP until 6 months after receiving the money. So you're under no obligation, Janelle, to repay that money now. So sit tight. Let's go over the new application, and let's make sure that we guide you in preparing that. Okay. So another question.
Carlos, we do have a couple people that have raised their hands. So if you guys can just type your questions in the chat, and Carlos will get to them in the order that he receives them.
Yes, thanks, Fabian. Thanks. So do you know when the document for the PPP will be released? We expect it to be released any day now. Okay, so I haven't seen it yet, but we assume it's going to be very similar to the old one with some change percentages and maybe on the instructions more clarity. Okay, question here. I applied for the PPP, but I haven't received any of the money yet. When I received it on the payroll account, can I transfer it to a new account? Yes, I recommend that you transfer all the money that you receive from the PPP and the EIDL account into a new bank account. And from that bank account, you cover all of your operating expenses, right? Including utilities, mortgages, payments to Vitae, everything else, right? Just look at your profit and loss, operating expenses, that you not use it to go and reinvest it in buying properties, paying off long-term debt, or refinancing debt. Yes, if your old account was used to process payroll, then you can always transfer the amount of the payroll from the new account back to the old account. We're just trying to show the government that we have clarity and we're respecting, the loan. Okay, so that's what we want to do here. So let's see here. Another question. How will the full-time equivalent employee be calculated? ADP has some existing reports available in their comparison report. It appears that they are including employees as one full-time if they work full-time and at any time during the look-back period. That's a very good question. We've had a lot of changes even within the ADP reports. So we don't have that calculation yet. So please communicate with us so we can go ahead and get back to you on how to handle the full-time employees that are coming back for purposes of calculation. That's why it's a little bit sensitive. We haven't seen the new application come out yet. And what I've learned over the past 3 months is I'm afraid to say something that I'm not sure of until I have it in front of me. So we don't want to say something that's going to be disinformation. This is very sensitive stuff. This is your money, and we want to make sure we're 100% with what we're saying. And if we're not 100%, then we're not going to say it, and just wait for the application to come out. Let's see here. I probably missed the account. We recommended we create an effort to avoid commingling. What account do we ask our bank to create? It's okay for you to name the account as you name every account based on the name of your business, but just go ahead and hyphenate it and add the letters EIDL/PPP, so that it's very clear that the only monies that are going into this account are monies that came from the governmental agencies and from the bank. Okay. Yeah, so you could go ahead and give us a call, Sherwood, and we'll go ahead and answer your questions. Let's see here. Do I need to transfer the PPP money to an account or just keep it on the Bank of America card? The PPP money should be moved into your newly created bank account. Okay, Elizabeth, so move it there, and then we'll go ahead and guide you as to how you should go ahead and use that money. Okay, most of it is going to go to process your payroll, and some of it is going to be used to cover your basic operating expenses. What type of utilities can I include in my expenses? Well, I mean, what we're interpreting utility to mean is water, electricity, and telephone services. That's the basic definition of what we understand utilities to be. Let's see here. What type of, okay. Okay, so right now you're actually helping with answering some of these questions. That's very awesome. For those of you that don't know Reina Rubalcaba, great CPA, great help here. So let's see here. Karen, can you discuss a little bit about the concept of being able to defer payroll taxes under the PPP loan? Is that part of the new Flexibility Act? Okay, by deferring taxes, deferring payroll taxes, okay. First of all, people have been asking me, are the monies that I'm getting taxable? And the answer clearly is no, right? The answer is no. A loan is never taxable. Okay, so these are loans. Okay, now what happens if I ask for a forgiveness? Well, at that point, not only is a loan not taxable, but per the law, I'm not allowed to claim a deduction for that, for the payroll and for the utilities and for my rents, right? So many of you, particularly for those of you that are doing better this year, if you did apply for this loan and you went ahead and asked for the forgiveness, and you were granted the forgiveness, obviously, it's conceivable that you're going to pay more taxes next year than you did for 2020 than you did for 19. Why is that? Because you're no longer claiming a deduction for those payroll expenses and utility expenses that you would be getting a deduction for in the past. Why is that? Because you didn't pay for it. The government paid for it. So that's exactly what the problem is. These calculations are not simple. There will be a negative tax impact. There may be a negative tax impact for you because you're not claiming a deduction. Let's see here. Will the loan show on our credit report? Well, it shouldn't, because this is a corporate loan. There's no personal guarantee. So you're not personally responsible for this loan. The corporation, your business, is responsible for this loan. So we've been asked questions as well about, can I cancel my corporation and can I put it under a new corporation? No, you can't transfer this loan. It's not transferable. And if you terminate a corporation, then within the loan language, it stipulates that they have the right to call it back. So this is sensitive stuff here, folks. You need to make sure that you communicate with your CPA and that you ask the questions, because it's impossible to paint everybody with the same colored brush, right? There's a customization aspect to everything we're doing. So very good questions. If I already use all the funds, am I going to have a problem because I did not open a separate bank account? No, because Yolanda, you're a client of ours, and we, from an accounting standpoint, have tracked every single record of yours. But of course, now internally, we got to go in and start separating these accounts to earmark them directly, to separate them from the usage of the normal revenue that's coming in. So we just got to get creative there. Since you spent the money, we can't give everybody the money back, or request everybody to give us the money back so we can pay it back. It's not going to work out that way. So we got to get a little creative, is my short answer there. We would recommend it as long as the record keeping is detailed. You shouldn't have a problem. That is correct. So Reina, you answered that question. Thank you. Can I apply for the PPP and use it for new hires? Yes, it's not required that you use it for the same employees. You could use it for new employees. That is correct. Okay. Any other questions? Awesome, guys. Well, it's already 8 o'clock. And let me see, you guys don't have any other questions? I think that is it. Well, guys, thank you guys very, very much for joining us tonight. It was completely awesome. 1 hour came and went quickly. And again, we're going to have it tomorrow. And this is the first of a series of webinars that we're going to have at Vitae Tax. We're going to share information about many topics and so forth. And you know what? It's kind of exciting for us. It's our business. We care about our business. And it's a good topic to have. I mean, we have exciting topics, and we're going to push some buttons, and don't be afraid to bring those questions, bring them on. It's all about answering questions and getting you guys organized. Thank you guys very much. You guys have a wonderful night, and rest and stay safe. We'll see you guys soon. Take care.